Hey, how you doing? I didn't see you there. I'm sorry. I was kind of busy. See, I'm working on something new. Would you like to see what I'm doing? Yeah? Come on. Come a little closer and I'll show you what I'm doing. Well, what I have here is a little snowman. He's made out of some homemade clay. Yeah, homemade clay. I made it with stuff that I could find around the house. I made this little snowman and now I'm just putting him together with a little bit of glue. After that, I may be using a little bit of these markers to try to color him. As a matter of fact, here I have my first sculpture that I made with homemade clay. Do you see him? Some of you might recognize him as that dinosaur that we make when we're at home, or when we're at school, not at home, with our plasticine, right? Now, I've started experimenting with it here with some color. On this side right here, I started coloring with the markers. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I grabbed one of these markers and I started to color him with the marker. Because, you know, it's an easy thing that I have around the house, right? So, marker. But I also found some paint. So I started practicing paint on the other side. Now, I didn't go buy paint. I just used paint that I had around the house. So if you have paint, you know what? You might want to start looking for it now. Now, would you like to learn how to make homemade clay? Yeah? All right, so let's put this away and let's head out to my kitchen where we're going to find most of the things we're going to need. And I'm going to show you how to make homemade clay and then you can sculpt from it. Come on, let's go to the kitchen. Welcome to my kitchen. Well, this is a little piece of my kitchen that I cleared out so that we can make our homemade clay. And if you can see, the things that we have here are typical things that we could probably just find around the house. Liquid glue, any brand. I have Elmer's, but any brand will do. Don't use the stick glue, that's not going to work. Okay, you have to use this liquid glue. Bread, white bread. We're going to do something to this bread in a minute. Something to mix the ingredients in. A spoon, the small one, not the big one. And some dish soap. Okay, dish soap. I think that with all of this, we can easily make our homemade clay. We call it bread clay. Step number one, before we go into the details, is you don't want to include the crust of the bread. The crust is this part. Now, pretty much any white bread will do. So if you don't have this bread, this exact bread, you could probably even get away with like hot dog bread, but don't use the crust part. You can use the inside. We're going to need about two slices. And what I like to do is I like to pull out all of the crust first. Set that aside. Do it to both slices. I've got a slice and a half. You can use two if you want. I used 1.5 for the snowman and for the dinosaur. I used 1.5. Make sure you take out all the crust. Do it with your hand. Don't use a knife, okay? And then take out pieces. Take out the pieces. Cut them into small little bits. The smaller the bits that you cut it into, the easier it's going to be to later mix your clay. So cut it into little pieces, put it in your little bowl. Use a bowl that mom gives you permission to use, right? And you're going to get mom or abuelo or abuela's permission. Don't sneak into the kitchen and do this on your own, right, without permission. I don't want you getting in trouble. Do this all with permission. Let your parents know. They could even help you to do this. And cut it all into little pieces. Now that we've got all the little pieces cut up, let's get closer so we can do the actual mixing of the materials, okay? So come closer so you can take a look. Okay, so what I did was I took all the crumbs, the crust, and I'm throwing that away. I'm not going to need that, okay? If you want to eat it, you can eat it. It's perfectly healthy. I mean, well, I don't know about healthy, but it's perfectly safe. And so now what we have is our cut up pieces of bread. Now, I've got to warn you, this is going to be a little messy, but you've got to be patient. It's going to start off kind of messy, right? But then it's going to get better. I promise you it's going to get better. But you've got to stick with it, all right? So how much are we going to put in? Well, we've got the spoon here. We're going to use this spoon for measuring. Now, check out this little trick. I'm going to have a couple of pieces of bread separated. I'm going to separate some of these pieces of bread so that I can use them to clean my spoon. And you're going to see, right? So I separated these two guys over here. They're right here. And now I'm going to get my glue, and I'm going to fill the spoon with glue. Okay? So 1 teaspoon full of glue, and pour it in there. Okay? Now, this is what the bread is for. You see how all of the glue just doesn't come out? You can use one of the pieces to get most of the glue off. If you have the other piece and want to use that too, you can. Clean off all the glue, right? I'm going to grab another piece because I'm going to need some for the soap. Same thing happens with the soap. All right, so I'm going to get my soap. You know, when I did this, this is not the first time I do this. When I was small, I learned to do this. I read an article in a magazine. And instead of soap, they recommended lemon. But instead of using the lemon, I thought soap would be an easier thing for all of us to use, because I know that everybody has to have a little bit of soap at home. And not everybody buys lemon, so put the soap in there. And then just clean off the extra soap with a little piece of bread and throw it in there. Okay, now I'm going to put this to clean. You heard that? That went into the sink. I'm going to put these guys away, make sure I close them. And now, my friend, it's time to get our hands dirty. Now, some people recommend going in there with a fork and forking everything together so that it gets mixed in first. You can do the fork. I don't have a problem, but I think my hands are better. So I'm gonna put up my sleeves, and I'm just gonna start mixing this stuff up. Okay? And yeah, it's going to be a little nasty at first, but you want to start mushing it and squeezing it all as much as you can. And it starts to stick to your hands. Yes, your hands are going to get sticky. If you are one of those people that do not like sticky hands, well, I've got good news for you. You will be able to wash all of this off your hands pretty soon. So stick with it. It takes a little bit. Yesterday when I did the bread clay for the snowman and the little dinosaur, it took me a while. Yeah, it wasn't right away. It wasn't a quick thing. My hands got really sticky. Though today, it's not so bad. I think today it's going out a little better. It's coming along a little better today. And the nice thing about this clay, and I'm going to tell you now, it's a special thing. If you remember, if you've done plasticine clay in the classroom, one of the things I tell you is that the plasticine clay will never get hard, right? I always tell you it's made out of petroleum, it's made out of plastic, and it takes forever to, well, actually it never takes forever. Forever it will never get hard. It's always going to be soft. I talked to you about real clay, right? The kind that's made out of the ground, out of the soil. That real clay gets hard with the air, but it's very brittle. If it falls on the floor, it'll break. This clay, on the other hand, is just like Play-Doh. So when we leave it out, it's going to get hard. It's not going to get hard like rock or glass, but it's going to get firm. It's going to get nice and strong, and then you'll be able to paint it, and you'll be able to keep it somewhere permanently, right? Can you see how it's turning into clay already? But it's taking some time, right? I've got to squeeze it and turn it and squeeze it and turn it. And as I go, it picks up a lot of the clay that's in my hand. I've had to be patient, right? I've had to be patient and take my time to get it to here. Now, some people say that if you put it in a Ziploc bag and you close the Ziploc bag, it will stay soft longer. But the minute you leave it outside, it's going to get hard again, right? And once it's hard forever. But that's okay because that's what we want, right? We want to make something and we want it to stay nice and firm, something we can use and leave there maybe on our bedside table. Something permanent, right? I think it's looking pretty good. Yes, I'm liking this. Look at that. We've got our homemade clay. Now, what can we make with this clay? Let's go ahead now and let's go to our table where we work, right? Our art table. We're going to make something with this clay. We'll probably be making either the snowman or the dinosaur step by step. And then we'll talk about letting it sit there to dry and then coloring, okay? All right, so before we go to the table, I'm going to put my clay down here. It's not going to be sticky. It's actually pretty good. It rolls around like a little ping pong ball. It rolls around. This I'm going to clean. My hands I'm going to clean. And I'm going to take the glue. I'm going to need this glue. I'm going to leave the soap in the kitchen because I don't want Mom to get mad. I'm going to leave the soap in the kitchen. We're going to clean this for Mom. We're going to clean our hands. And I'll go see you at the art table. All right? Come on, let's go make something with clay. I hope that you were able to make a nice piece of clay. Sometimes the first time you make the clay, it doesn't come out the way you expected. It's okay. It's just bread. We can make some more. Practicing will get you better at making the clay. So what I did was I put it in a little Ziploc bag because after filming that video, that part of the video, I went to have a little lunch. So that it wouldn't get hard, I put it in a little plastic Ziploc. And I recommend you do this if you're not going to use it right away. I can't tell you if it's going to stay soft overnight. You can always experiment with a little piece, right? But I was only out for about an hour from the clay. I left it by itself for an hour. And it feels pretty soft. It feels like when the same way I had just felt when I had made it. So you should be okay. Another thing you could do, I think you could probably put it in the cold, in the fridge, and it should stay nice and soft. So you've got your clay. You're also going to need a little bit of glue, maybe. Okay, a little bit of glue, maybe. But that all depends. We'll see. I'm not going to do I was thinking of doing maybe the snowman, but then I thought, everybody knows how to make a snowman, right? Babies know how to make snowmen. I think the dinosaur is a little harder, right? So if you've done the dinosaur before with me, you know what to do, right? You know how to separate it into pieces. If you haven't done the dinosaur before, then this is a great opportunity for you to do it. You don't have to do the dinosaur, but I do recommend you do it once, right? So you can have a permanent dinosaur, one that becomes nice and strong and hard and permanent that you can paint later on. It's not like the plasticine one, right? Remember the ones that we would do in class, we would have to just return them, right? And back to the clay bucket. This one you don't. This one you get to keep. So you can do a dinosaur. Make a dinosaur, and then whatever clay you might have left, you can make something else, right? You can make the snowman, anything, a teddy bear, whatever you think you'd like to have. So for the body of the dinosaur, I'm going to take out a piece of this clay. It's a lot like Play-Doh, right? It's a lot like Play-Doh because Play-Doh is made from wheat, from dough, and this is dough, right? Bread dough. So that's why they're so similar. So for the body, we can make it any size. We can actually make it probably a little bigger. So I'm going to get another piece, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And for the body, we could just shape a sphere. A sphere is the form of a basketball, right? It's not a circle. A circle we know is a shape, and a sphere is a form. And when we work with things like clay, what we're creating are forms. We're not making shapes. But I sometimes will use the word shape so that we can understand. But technically, in sculpture and in this type of work, we are going to be using forms, the word form. So this is a form. Now we have to smooth it out sometimes, right? Because it likes to crack. This is not as smooth as real clay, and it's not as smooth as plasticine. So we have to use our fingers gently to get it the way we want it. Now, once I've got it into a sphere, I want to turn it a little bit into like an oval shape. You know, like the shape of an egg. Like that. Now, once we have the body, I'm going to set the body aside. Let's create the tail. Now our dinosaur is going to have a long tail. So not as much. I'm going to cut off a piece. Not as big as the body, right? You can tell the size differences here, right? But we want it to be kind of big because we want this tail to be long. So what you can do is you can use the table to roll out a cylinder. You see the cylinder? The cylinder is the same form as a pencil. A pencil is a cylinder. But what I'm doing with this cylinder is I'm making it very small at the bottom, at the tip, and a little thicker at the top. So it's not really a cylinder, it's more of a cone. It's like a very tall cone. Can you see it? Now it doesn't matter if it's irregular, right? Because we're making a dinosaur, and a dinosaur wasn't perfectly straight, right? Now, this is the part where I think we need a little bit of glue. We are going to pull the clay together, but I think a little glue here would help us. So I'm going to put a little bit of this glue, if I can get it to come out. I'm going to clean the tip, because sometimes this glue tends to stick together and cause a seal here. It closes the tip. So I clean it off. Now I'm going to, you see how there's a little bit of glue there? You see it? Now that little bit of glue, I'm going to put the tail right there. Move it around a little bit. And then, oh, it's kind of slippery. I got to be careful. I'm going to use that tail and I'm going to mix it or stretch it in or fuse it or connect it, any of these words work, with the body. Now this takes a little time and it takes a little effort. Maybe you might need to pinch, maybe you might need to pull and squeeze and get all of that clay to come together for the tail. You see it? The glue that we put is going to help the tail stay stuck to the body, but also this mixing of one part of the tail and one part of the body is also going to help for the strength, right? For the connection. And then when it dries, it's going to get nice and hard and it'll be permanent. But we want to help it along, right? So there's our tail, right? Of our dinosaur. And our body. Right now it looks like a tadpole. Those of you who know a little bit about science, you know that a tadpole is a baby what? What's a tadpole? A baby elephant? A baby giraffe? Or a baby frog? I don't know. Leave your answer in the comments in teams. So it looks a little bit like a tadpole. Alright, now the next thing we can do are the legs or the neck. I think I want to do the neck and the head first. So I'm going to take, this might be a little too much clay. Let's put the body over here where you can see it, but I can still work on the clay. I'm going to make it also into a cylinder. It doesn't matter if I got too much. Sorry, my paper moved. It doesn't matter if I took too much because I can always remove. And the nice thing about clay is you can always remove and you can add. So do you remember this form that I'm rolling the clay into? It's a cylinder, right? Now I can do a gentle cone. A gentle cone. That means it's a cone that's not as thick at the bottom and not as pointy. So it's kind of more cylinder than a cone. So I can make it look like where the head part is coming out. We can make that part smaller. Let me see. Would that be too thick? Yeah, I have a feeling that's too much. Too much. So let's keep rolling it out. Yeah, we don't want that neck to be so thick it feels like it's too big for the body, right? So we kind of test it. Let's see. Oh, this is a little better. Obviously, this is too long, right? So we're going to cut this. Sorry about that, my friend. But you were getting too big. Alright, so we can connect the body here. And this could be the head. But you know what? That was too much neck there too. So we'll roll it, roll it, roll it. We keep rolling it until we make it smaller here. Now, I've always talked to you about the importance of practice, right? You've got to practice. If you want to get good at this, you've got to do it over and over and over again. If you have Play-Doh at home and you want to do this with Play-Doh, you can. You don't need to make bread clay. You could just use your Play-Doh. But the nice thing is that if you don't have it, you can still use it. You can still make some clay. It's like emergency clay, right? Okay, so I've got this shape for my neck. I'm going to connect it here with a little bit of glue. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did with the tail. Oh, got to open it. If you don't open it, it's not going to work. Just a little bit, okay? Don't go crazy with the glue. Spread it around. It is going to be slippery, I can tell you. But that's going to help it stick. And then I'm going to smooth it out to connect it to the body. You see how it's connecting? You can always go back and fix some parts that you're not happy with. Okay, now you see this part right here? You see how it's not really looking like it's connecting there? This is where you can use a tool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pencil. Now, the thing with the pencil is that it might leave a mark on the clay. Let me see. Will it leave a mark? No, it's not leaving a pencil mark. And I can use my pencil tip. Let's put it here so you can see it better. Pencil tip to smooth out this clay. And don't worry if it gets a little rough when you're using your pencil, because what you can do is you can smooth it later with your hand. Another thing you can, another little trick, if you have a little bit of water in your fingers, you can use water, a little bit of wet fingers, which you couldn't do with the plasticine, right? Because it's made out of plastic. You can wet your fingers a little bit. And that'll smooth out the clay. Alright, I think that's pretty good. I like for it to turn a little bit and make it look like it's looking in a different direction. And then we can do the head. Let's see, could this work as the head? Maybe. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm going to use this as the head. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in my connection here. Just a little bit, you see it? And I'm going to connect the head. And then I'm going to smooth it out. Let me put them on the side there so you can see what I'm doing. I'm moving some of the clay from the head to the neck and some of the clay from the neck to the head. Making it into one piece. And there's the head. I like that head. I'm happy. I'm proud of the head that I made. Now, can I go in there now with my pencil and poke an eye? Yes, I can. Do you want to make a nose? Yes, you can make a nostril. There's another little nostril there. Let me see. Do I have something flat like a paper clip? Let me look for a paper clip. Yes. I think a paper clip would make a nice tool, or any other little thing that you think you might have. And I think that with this paper clip, I can make a line for the mouth. I might even be able to separate using the paper clip the top and the bottom. Look at that. Wow, who would have thought that a paper clip could be so useful? Oh, I love paper clips, now more than ever. Let's check the other side. Well, the other side we might have to make a little bit more mouth. And you can open his mouth if you want. You can make it a big mouth, or you can make it a small mouth. It's up to you. Okay. I think that's good enough for me and for my dinosaur. Maybe the eye needs to get a little bigger on this side. How about this eye? Oh yeah, all right, there we go. Look at that. Wait, let me make the mouth a little bit longer at the top. A little bit smaller at the bottom. There's my mouth. I love it. I'm really happy with that. All right, now the legs, because my man has to, my dinosaur, he's got to move around. All right, so, you know what? So I don't want this to dry out. I'm going to put this guy back into my little plastic baggie because I don't think I'm going to need him anymore. But if I do, it'll be nice and soft when I'm ready for it. Okay, yeah, I might need a little bit more, but let's see. These will be the legs. For the legs, we're going to make 2 cylinders. So we'll roll them out a little bit. Roll them out. Flatten them out. There's one. I think this one has too much. Let's take out a little bit. I'm going to make him a little bit of a ball first. And then I'm going to roll him out. Let's take a look. I have to do a lot of smoothing of bread clay because it's not as smooth as plasticine. Those of you who have used plasticine, you know what I'm talking about, right? Plastilina in Spanish. It's a lot smoother. Okay, so I got the 2 front legs. I'm gonna have to go ahead and dig into my little bag, and I'm gonna pull out 2 more pieces for the back legs. I'll put the rest in the little bag. There it is, you see it? And put it to the side. And this little extra piece, I'm going to split it in half, a little bit here, a little bit there. I don't mind that my back legs of my dinosaur might be a little bit bigger. That's perfectly alright. It's okay for them to be a little bit bigger. Because this is a dinosaur, right? And this one, oh, don't fall now, don't fall. We've got to give the dinosaur a name. What do you think would be a good name for Dino here? If you think of a good name, post it up in the messages, in the team's messages. All right, let's start building him, but I don't want to break his neck. So we'll put him on the side, right? We'll put him on the side. Let's put a little bit of glue here for the back legs. I know that's on the side because I'm going to start here on the side. I'm going to put the leg on the side, not at the bottom. And then I'm smoothing out, I'm stretching out so that the clay connects, the bread clay connects to itself. Right? You see that? And then here, remember we were talking about the inside, I can use my pencil. I can even use this paper clip. Ooh, the paper clip's my new sculpting BFF. I love him. I love the paper clip. Who would have thought, right? The paper clips could be so awesome. Okay, I got one back leg. Should we do the front and then the back? No, let's do the other back. I think you're right. Let's do the other back. All right, so let's put a little bit of glue here. I'm gonna flatten out the leg a little bit. Let's see if they're more or less on the same place. Smooth out this stuff right here so that it connects. We want all this clay to connect to itself. Don't worry if the clay's a little rough. It's supposed to be like that. You can smooth it out as much as you want. Here's a little piece that fell out. I can put it back in. It's okay because, you know, these animals, they had all these scales. So all this irregular shape, it's perfectly all right. Okay. Can I reach in here with the paper clip? Oh yes, the paper clip is so skinny. It lets me reach in and smooth out this part. Let me check. Okay, they're more or less the same height. More or less. All right. Now let's do the front. Same thing with the front. But for the front, I'm going to put it more towards the bottom. Okay. Make a little round shape here at the bottom of the leg. Connect it. You see how it connected? And Hold it on there. You know what? I think I might just leave it like that. No, let's do what we've been doing. Let's do what we've been doing. Let's try to get these two pieces to connect to one another. Just to be safe, right? Even if it's just a little bit. Did you see that? I almost dropped my dinosaur. Man, could you imagine having to start from the beginning? But you know what? It's happened to me before. You know what I do? I just start from the beginning again. No big deal. It's awesome. I get to do it twice. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. If you just do it one time, and expect it to be perfect, it's not going to happen. But the more you practice, the more you do it over and over and over and over, the better you're going to be. The better sculptor, the better artist you're going to become. All right. Let me see. All right, we're going to do the next leg. I'm going to put the other leg right here. Okay, so let's put him on the side. He is getting a little delicate. And for this one, I'm going to put the glue on the leg. I'm not going to put the glue on the body because then I have to move the body. I don't want to move the body too much at this stage. Now, if you're seeing the dinosaur and you're saying, "Oh, Mr. G, that's too hard." Hey, I understand. Do a snowman. Just do 3 spheres and a little hat. Maybe you can do a little nose, and you'll be all set. You don't have to do a dinosaur. But if you think a dinosaur is a good challenge for you, then do the dinosaur. Do what you feel happy doing. If you want to do a flower, if you want to do anything you want to do is fine with me. But I want to see you do something, right? Okay, there's my dinosaur. Let me see if he'll stand up. Oh my God, he's standing up. Can you see him? There he is. He's going to move around. Okay. All right, I'm not going to play with him yet because he is still drying. He's still very soft. Very, very soft. And if I move him around too much, he's not going to do well. So I'm going to set him aside, and I am going to let him dry. I'm going to give him about 2 days to dry. You can check him tomorrow. In the meantime, I'll bring over yesterday's dinosaur. All right. I don't have a name for him, so if you remember, if you think of a good name for the dinosaur, send it to me. This guy's called Greenie, and Greenie's pretty hard. Let me see if you can hear him. Let me see. Can you hear? You see? If I did that to the other dinosaur, he would just go blow. But this guy's already getting really hard. I think that by tomorrow, he's going to be hard as a rock. Yeah. Today, he's a little bit squishy. Greenie's just a little tiny bit squishy. Now, the thing about Greenie is that I'm starting to paint him, right? Now, we talked about painting. If you do your dinosaur or whatever sculpture that you do, and later you want to give it some color, you can. Is Mr. G saying that you now have to go and buy paint? No, that is not what Mr. G is saying. Mr. G is saying if you have paint in your house, you can paint him. If you want to paint him with watercolors, I would say try it. The problem is, because this is bread and glue, if you get it too wet, it might start melting. So wait a couple of days, maybe wait 2 or 3 days, let him dry up really good, and then do a quick watercolor coloring. Painting. Don't try to watercolor him with a lot of water because he'll mess up, right? He'll melt up again. So don't do that. Even though he is permanent, but you know, if you wet things, sometimes wet things melt. All right. So, number 1, look at the video, right? You're going to watch the video from beginning to end. So if you're here, you've already watched it from beginning to end. Number 2, try to make the clay. If you don't have Play-Doh, try to make the clay. If you have Play-Doh, then you're all set. You could just use Play-Doh. But if you want to go ahead and experiment by making something new and different, which is bread clay, and impress your family and friends, go ahead and do the bread clay. Number 4, after you've done your bread clay, create something. Ideally, you could make the dinosaur. But if you can't make the dinosaur and you want to make a snowman, make a snowman. If you want to make a snake, make a snake. If you want to make a rocket, make a rocket. Make something out of the clay. Once you've made it, take a picture of it. Send it to me. I want to see it. Do you have to paint it? Do you have to color it? No. Coloring is optional. But I'd love to see it colored if you have it, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Greenie here. We're going to go away. And we're going to let you make your clay today, and then hopefully we can have some fun sharing each other's artwork. I would love to see your artwork. I would love to see the beautiful sculptures that you make with your bread clay. If you have a little bit of trouble with the clay, remember you can try it again and again. You can rewind the video, see how I do it. But try it. Please try it and practice. Leave me comments in the teams section. I would love to hear your opinion. Remember, I don't know what that baby was. Was it a giraffe, an elephant, or a frog? A baby tadpole? What is that? And I would love to have a name for dinosauriosito. Yeah, dinosauriosito. All right, give him a name. The best name wins. Gets triple A's today. All right, guys, nice spending a little time with you. I hope to see you soon. We're going to have a special video, so keep an eye out for that. Bye-bye. Take care. Stay safe. And see you soon. Hey, guys, I almost forgot something important. You know, a lot of times we make these projects by ourselves, but if you want to, you know, this is a really good project for you to do with mom and dad. When I was small, I was telling you that I had done this before. I did this project with my mom and had a great time. My mom, I discovered my mom was very creative and she did some really good sculpture. So if you want to include and invite your parents and have them show the work that they do with you, bring it on. I'll count it as extra credit. All right. So invite your parents to do some art. I'm sure it's a great stress reliever for these days. And it's nice to be together, right? And make some art together with mom and dad. So I invite you to do that. All right. Send their work too. I'd love to see it. All right. Bye-bye.